Hi everybody, how are you today? This is Joanne Hewins, and I'm going to go live on Facebook and show you a new card today. I'm an independent Stampin' Up dealer or demonstrator, and my blog post is lovetocreate.typepad.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card. It's a card that I put on my blog today, and I just wanted to share with you how I use the Stamperatus to make it. Let me just tell you a little bit about the Stamperatus. This is it. It's going to be due or available to order on June 1st. It comes with a mat that you can use with the with the thin stamps. And then you don't use that when you're using the red rubber. It has two plates, and we're going to be using both of those plates today to make our card. It also has the hinges here and at the top that you can use. So today we're going to be using the hinges to do some hinge stamping. I won't need this sponge layer today for these red rubber stamps. I'm also going to put a silicone craft mat right in here, sometimes next to the hinges. It doesn't stamp quite as clearly as you would like, and this just gives a little bit of extra layer there to help you with that. I have here a list of the supplies that we're going to use, and I'm also going to link this video with my blog post today at lovetocreate.typepad.com. So we're going to start off with using the thick Whisper White for this. It's cut at 4 1/4 by 11. Now when you get ready to fold this, you're going to want to score it, because that's the best way to get a good flat fold. I'm going to use my scoring tool. I've got it at 5 1/2, and I'm just going to score that. And then we're going to fold it. I'm still going to kind of match the corners on my card, and then I'm going to use my bone folder to burnish that. We're going to be using today a piece of paper from the Wood Textures. I wanted to have the print that was on here, so I made sure I cut my paper so that this print wasn't cut off. And this is cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 because I wanted to cover the entire card. I'm going to be printing the saying, "Thank you big time," and I'm going to use the Stamperatus for that. So I'm going to bring that in. My paper is going to go up in this corner. I have my stamp on here so that it's going to come here. And when I place that, I put it between these two hinges and then out toward the end where I wanted it. So I'm going to put one magnet over here. And I did put a little bit of tape on that to help me pick it up and move it around where I want it. And to stamp our verse, we're going to use the soft suede pad. And this is one of the new ones, and you just open it like a compact and push it back. So I'm going to stamp that and here. Now, if I hadn't done a very good job of stamping, I could ink this back up and stamp it again. That's one of the great things about having a positioning tool. Now, I lifted this straight up, pulled it out, and went down one of the hinges. And I'm going to ink it up again and stamp. And I'm just going to keep doing that, going down a hinge, inking it up until I've run out of space. Now, so I think I'm going to have it about 5 times down the side of that paper. Very easy to do. Okay, so that part is done. and I'm going to take my paper off, and I'm going to put in its place a piece of 3x3 Whisper White paper. This is not the thick, it's just the plain Whisper White. And I want to stamp my rhinoceros. Now I have him positioned on here so that he'll go right in the middle of this paper. And while I'm not doing a special thing with that, I want to make sure that my rhinoceros is good and dark. And that's one of the reasons I'm using the Stamperatus with that, because if I don't get it really good and dark the first time, I can ink it again and it's going to go in the very same place. So, oops, I'm going to push that down. And that looks good, but I do want it a little bit darker than that. So I'm just going to ink it up again. And there we go. So that's that piece. And I'm going to put a little piece of paper in here to keep that from printing on my silicone mat. And then we're going to work with a few other things before we come back to the Stamperatus. Now I want to go ahead and glue this to the paper, and I'm going to use glue for this, and that way I can reposition it a little bit if I need to. And I want to put this, of course, so that the writing goes the right way. And I'm just going to kind of place it here at the fold. And then look at my corners down there. And there it is. Now for the rhinoceros, I'm going to color him. I'm going to use blends to do that. And so I do have a list of all of the blends that I'm using here. And the good news about the blends now is that they are available to order. These that I have on screen are available to order now. And they have been on back order for a long time, or unorderable for a long time. So we're excited to have them back. The sad news is that the new blends coming out in the catalog on June 1st will not be available. Okay, I just used light pumpkin pie for that, and now I'm going to use the light pool party. I'm going to use the smaller end for that. Now, the new blend should be available sometime in the middle of June, so just keep your eyes open and we'll let you know when those are available. I'm pulling in the dark pool party, and I'm just going to put a little bit at the ends of those and a little bit down here. And for this, I'm not even going to blend it. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Now for the tusk, I'm going to use the ivory marker. And I think I'll use the small one for that too. And I'm just going to go ahead and color in the whole tusk. Probably could have used the larger. And then I'm going to take the light crumb cake and add a little bit of shading to that. Put a little bit down here. A lot of these stamps where they have shading already is about where you're going to need them. So I'm just going to kind of go with that. And then I'm going to blend that back in a little bit. Okay. Now for the rest of the rhinoceros, I'm going to use the light crumb cake for that. I'm going to color him in. And I'm not really being very careful about it. I'm just going to color him in all the way. And I'll come in just a minute and add in some of the dark crumb cake. To him. So pretty quick on that. Add in some of the dark crumb cake. And once again, I'm going to be adding in where some of those shadows are already on him. Really just wherever I feel like it, where I feel like it's going to need a little bit of shading. Okay, and then I'm going to take the light crumb cake again, and we'll just shade that in or blend that out a little bit more. And as it dries, it's going to actually blend a little bit more in there. As you can see for him, I really didn't take a lot of time. Okay. Now I'm going to be using the layering circle framelits. To cut this out, I'm going to be using this circle. And if you'll wait just a minute, I'm going to cut that on the Big Shot. I'm going to be putting it about like that. It's kind of close to the edges, but it will be fine. I know you can't see that, but I'll try to get it as quickly as I can. Okay, so there we have that. And I've already cut a scallop circle with the same framelits. We're going to just put this on there. And then we'll add it with dimensionals. So I'm just going to put a couple on the back here. And we'll add that to the front of our card. Okay. And of course it's going to cover up a little bit of the words, but it doesn't matter because they're repeated throughout there. So there's the front of the card. Go some on that one. And we will work on the inside of the card. So I'm going to pull in the Stamperatus again. And I'm going to get the other plate that I had that has our words for the inside. And for this, you want the writing to be here, of course. And I'm going to place it in my Stamperatus actually upside down. And I have it so that we'll get the Wild About You right in here. And it is all upside down, but that's okay. It turns out the right way. Let me add this. We'll ink that up. And I'll do that. And that came out well. So the next thing I'm going to do is the little branch that is on in the stamp set. Animal Outing is the set that I'm using. And I'm going to ink that up. I'm using Memento Black like I did for the rhinoceros. And I think I'm going to make that a little bit darker. Okay. So now we have our card. We have the front. And then when you open it, here's the inside. And what we're going to do on the inside with the branch is also color that with the dimensionals. Now, not the dimensionals, the blends. And this is actually, the blends may go through the paper a little bit. It may show up on the back. Here's this one that I did, and you can see just a hint of it there. So we're not going to color it a lot. We're just going to go over it quickly, so maybe it won't go through so much. So I'm going to use my crumb cake for that. And then we're going to use Old Olive, the light and the dark, for the rest. So I'm going to color these leaves. Now I did go out of lines for the branches. I'm a little bit nervous in front of all of you. I'm going to go ahead and color all of these leaves in the light Old Olive. And then I'm going to come back and just down here toward the bottom, I'm going to do some of the dark Old Olive. And I'm not even going to blend that. I'm just going to leave it as it is. And then I'll do the same for our frog here. So I've got him colored, and I'm going to put just a little bit of this darker Old Olive here on him and just leave him as is. So this is the finished card, as you would see it on my blog. But for our purposes here, I'm going to change it up just a little bit and add some. Now we've been using the Animal Outing stamp set, and I'm going to pull in the Painted Harvest stamp set, and we're going to add some leaves to go around this rhinoceros with that. So I've got the leaf stamp mounted, and I've got some Old Olive paper, and we're going to stamp 3 of the leaves. Now I'm just going to do this down near the bottom so I can punch it out pretty easily. And I'm just going to do 3 leaves. I'll be using the leaf punch for that. And of course you turn it upside down so you can match everything well. We'll punch those out. Okay, and then we're going to use the small dimensionals to help us add to this. Now I'm going to put this one about like this, down under there. So I'm not going to put a dimensional on this one, but I will the other 2. So I'll put one here. To me, these smaller ones are a little bit harder to handle, and a little bit harder sometimes to pull this thing off, the backing off. There it goes. And I'm just going to stick this under there, and I'm going to put that a little bit over and stick these others down. Now I can go back with a glue dot in a few minutes and fix that back down. And then I'm going to put this one about like this. So I'll go ahead and put dimensional on each of these. Now, all of the products that I'm using will be available, some now, and the rest on June 1st when our annual catalog goes live. And you can buy those from me. The link will be on the YouTube channel when I upload this, or you can go through my blog at lovetocreate.typepad.com. I would really appreciate your business. And then we're going to add this one here. And then this one we're going to put down this way. So I'll just go ahead and put a dimensional on all 3 of those. We'll add that. So I really like adding a little bit more to the card. Sometimes simple is really great, and sometimes you can just up it a little bit with something that's not quite so hard. So we'll put this right in there. So what do you think about having a little bit of greenery? Which of those do you like the best? You'll have to make a comment on my blog and let me know which of these that you like best. And then I have one other card that's the very same thing. I also used the wood textures on this one, but I used a different one, and I think that looks nice too. So let me know what you think. I appreciate your time today and watching me make the card. I hope you learned something, and I hope that you'll try it. This one is pretty easy, and I just appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.